Radio Oxford.
Now, my next guest won over the nation in 2009 after being crowned X Factor winner and has gone on to sell over 2 million records worldwide. Now, back with a brand new single out today, it's very exciting, and a new chapter in his life. Joe McElderry joins me. Joe, it's lovely to have you on.
Thank you for having us. Good day. I was going to say morning, but it's afternoon now, isn't it?
Well, I'm just getting over the fact that actually it was back in 2009 that we first heard of Joe McElderry. I can't believe it was that long ago. You're a veteron of the industry
11 years. How crazy. How crazy.
Well, it is crazy, and a lot's happened in 11 years. Well, quite a lot's happened in the last 10 months as well. But
Oh, God, yeah.
But I think the last time that we spoke and you were on the show, you were doing Club Tropicana. You were doing the musical.
Yeah. So that was about 2 years ago now. And obviously, little did we know what was ahead of us now. But I had so much fun doing that show. And obviously, I love Oxford as well. Love coming down to Oxford. It's always a great place.
Yeah, well, we love having you here. And of course, that's a different sort of discipline. And I suppose it's quite a pleasure to do, aside from, the songwriting and the touring and all those live shows when it's just Joe McElderry.
Yeah, and not to kind of sound weird when I say this, but it's actually less pressure because, when I'm on stage as me, it's a 2-hour show. You don't really leave the stage apart from to do a quick change, and it's the whole thing relies on you. Obviously, when you do a show, you're playing a character, you've got loads of different moving parts on the show, and you almost feel a little bit more protected. You don't feel as exposed, So I always love kind of the opportunities over the years that I've had to kind of venture off into musical theatre and do those kind of jobs, because it's just nice to be work as an ensemble with an incredibly, talented bunch on whatever show you're doing.
Yeah, I should imagine that actually over the last 10 months, I mean, if we hadn't suddenly entered this global pandemic, then you had a very, very full diary and there would have been lots of things happening. But everything came to a halt. What were you doing last March when, I think it was the 26th of March, when literally, certainly your industry just came to a halt?
Well, I actually had a concert on the Sunday night before the kind of official announcement was made on the Monday. And at that point, I think, like everybody, we kind of had this really weird illusion that we wouldn't be affected here in the UK. I think everyone was a bit like, oh, it won't happen here. And, it's kind of far away and it's fine. And so we were in the middle of the show. I was doing a solo concert in London at the beautiful Cadogan Hall. Yeah. And it just changed all of a sudden halfway through the show. All of the kind of staff in the venue were rushing backstage and speaking to management and the production team and kind of saying, listen, there's been this announcement while the show's been going on and nobody's allowed backstage after the show. You all need to go out of a different exit. Don't socialise at stage door. And we were all a bit like, what?
Whoa.
Have we missed something?
Yeah.
And then I was due to be in the studio the next day. Obviously, I had to cancel all of that in London. And I came, because I live in Newcastle, and I got straight on the train and I thought, you know what, I think it's probably sensible if I just go home and sit for a while and see how this pans out, thinking it would maybe be 3 weeks. But, here we are.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because, nobody knew what was in front of us, of course. And, a week turned into 2, turned into 3, and then turned into several months. So, what do you do with your time? When you would have ordinarily been performing, how do you fill that time and just cope, actually?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate that I kind of, at the beginning of the first lockdown, I text all of my kind of production team that tour with me, and especially my sound engineer. I said, send me a list of everything I need to do a show from home. Like what I would need, the basic kind of equipment. And he sent this list through and I ordered it pretty much in March. And then we tested out these shows in the summer online. And I've been doing them from home, sometimes 2 and 3 shows a week and then, kind of 4 or 5 a month. And that's been kind of amazing for me. But obviously as well, we've had so many people join us on the shows. And I think it just gives everybody a focus and some sort of normality. Obviously it's not the same doing it through a screen, but we've had kind of all sorts of themed Zoom calls and quiz nights and concerts and games nights and things. And I think it's just about keeping, and obviously I've been doing a lot of writing and we wrote this song and filmed the video and recorded the single when all the restrictions were released in the summer. But it's different. It's different for me. I'm never still normally. And I've kind of had to retrain my brain to be, it's okay to be still. Don't kind of start having panic attacks about doing nothing. Just go with it and and chill, because you can't change it. So you have to kind of learn to just go with the flow a little bit.
And I suppose the nice thing about, I mean, if we're looking at the positives, the nice thing about being able sort of to do it online is the fact that you can reach that global audience. You can reach your fans all over the world, because if you're doing a live concert, say in London at the Cadogan Hall, your fans from different parts of the world may not be able to get there. So at least, that's probably been quite nice for your fan base all over the world.
And I've had quite a lot of messages off people saying, I've seen you, which sounds ridiculous to say this, but a lot of them have said, I've seen you more times this year than in normal times, because for whatever reason, you either haven't come to the city, maybe they can't get there travel-wise, or like you said, some people in America, it's a big journey to come over for one show, things like that. So that's been nice. And obviously, I've on the flip side of writing and recording for a new album and this brand new single, I was able to do writing sessions on Zoom, over to America, to Sweden, down to Sheffield, London, like different places that normally your schedule wouldn't allow you to get there. You could just text somebody and say, I'm going on Zoom at this time if you want to join. And that's been nice. But, obviously we miss the connection with people, If you're a social butterfly like me, you miss kind of the hustle and bustle of being around everyone.
Yeah, but you know what? Through the January blues, through the rain, through the cold, we get this. Your brand new single, Baby Had Your Fun. Now, that is out today, and I mean, that is just uplifting. It is one of those tunes that's just so instant, and it just brings that smile, Joe, doesn't it? I mean, in terms of the writing process, I mean, that was very, very different as well. You co-wrote that, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So we wrote that I went down to Sheffield with a friend of mine called Helen Boulden. We've worked together on a few of my previous albums. And I went down there in February last year, and that was one of the songs we'd come up with. But we didn't quite finish it. And then we finished it over Zoom in lockdown 1. And just sending each other voice notes and text messages and lyric changes and stuff. So it's been nice to kind of have the creative juices flowing with that kind of stuff, and even things like when we got to shoot the video in the summer, even though it was kind of quite stressful and you had to follow the regulations and obviously make sure everybody was safe and all of that kind of thing, it was nice to kind of go back for 9 hours of normality, being on a video set with the lights and the music and the hair and makeup. And it was just like, it kind of give you that like little kick to kind of go, okay, when it comes back, it's going to be amazing,
Yeah. And that song, if Fleetwood Mac did disco, that's what they would write and produce.
Well, we kind of, yeah, I mean, I love Fleetwood Mac. I'm a huge fan of them, and I'm a huge fan of country music as well, and disco, obviously. And I was like, listen, when we wrote this song, I was like, this has it's a breakup song, but it has a kind of anthem vibe where you want to just be on a dance floor and kind of dance away your sadness. So it's kind of the happy breakup song, shall we call it.
So did you write that about something that happened in your life then? Because I mean, generally there's always a sort of a flicker of something. You write about what I guess, like an author.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had that experience in the past. You've broken up with someone, you've fallen out with someone, or you've had a bit of a barney with someone. And we all have that moment, I think. Everybody's kind of experienced that moment where you kind of just want to sit and mope around and get the ice cream out and put a sad film on and feel sorry for yourself. And then you either have that kind of moment, or a friend kind of rings you and is like, get your glad rags on, we're going out, we're dancing this off, we're getting the drinks in, we're going to make you feel better. And it's that moment of, you have a few drinks and you think, actually, I'm invincible. You're not going to bring me down, So that was kind of the vibe, like being in that nightclub and just being really sad, but kind of dancing it out and kind of getting yourself back, after a sad moment.
Yeah, and I guess after sad moments, you might actually reflect on this moment.
Of the X Factor 2009 is Joe.
I think I remember.
I can hear the shocked scream there. It's so funny.
Oh dear! I mean, that lifts the spirits of everybody. As I say, I can't remember. 2009. It just doesn't seem possible that it was that long ago. But that was an incredible moment, and a moment, of course, that changed your life as well. Cheryl Cool was your X Factor mentor. Do you still keep in touch?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think it's like, I think people people ask us this quite a lot, and it's not anything kind of scandalous or like, no, we don't speak. It's just that, when we see each other, we have a lovely catch up, and we shared a connection and a moment in time that has gone down in history in terms of television, which is a wonderful thing. But I haven't spoken to her probably for about 4 years now, but not, we haven't fallen out, and it's not anything bad. It's just, everybody's off kind of doing their own thing. And then when you bump into each other, it's like when you see an old work colleague, So I haven't spoken to her for a while now.
Well, she's bringing up Bear as well, isn't she? With
exactly, she's got a child. She's busy. She's busy. I mean, we're both busy.
She'll be homeschooling at the moment, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I can't remember how old he is, but he's probably coming up to that kind of age. But time flies. Best of luck with this brilliant new single, Joe. It's really lovely to have you back on, and it's really lovely to have you back and, of course, releasing music in these weird old times. So please come back when you can maybe tell us about some live shows and that kind of thing, because it's very uncertain at the moment. But please do come back later on in the next few months.
As soon as we can get out on the road with the band, I will be there with bells on. We're kind of just waiting to see how the next couple of months pans out, what's going to be allowed and what's not. But as soon as we can, as soon as it's safe, I'll be there. And I'll be coming to Oxford.
Well, it'd be nice to have you in the studio. We might even be able to give you a hug. My goodness.
Hopefully. I long for that moment.
Me too, Joe. Me too. Thank you so much for coming on. All the best. Thank you so much, Joe McElderry.
Thank you.